Let's create a LinkedIn conversation ad in 2022. First thing I'm going to do is go to the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. And I may want to specify a specific campaign group. This blue button on the left, I'm going to hit Create. I'm going to hit Campaign. Hit Next. Now the objective is normally going to be lead generation, which is going to go to a lead gen form in most cases. So we're going to select that. I'm going to keep the location here as the United States. And the audiences is going to be very important. But the first thing I'm going to do is on-check enable audience expansion because I want full control over who sees the ads. And I don't really trust LinkedIn to find the right people that I want. So for the audience, we might type in something here like Director of IT, and we'll see what options should come up here. So we have Director of Information Technology. We can go back here and try Director of IT again, and we see that there are some other options that show up here. So we have Associate Director of Information Technology. We have certain groups related to IT that we could consider. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Associate Director. And what we also see here is there are various options that LinkedIn will recommend. So Head of Information Technology, let's check off that. Executive Director, Vice President of Technology, sure, all of these seem relevant. Director of Information Systems, Chief Technology Officer. So you can go through and select all of them that are relevant for you. What you can also do is narrow and select other variables. So you might want to only consider people within companies of certain sizes, for example. So under audience attributes, I could go to company and I could say company size is over 200. So I would check off all of these. And that would help narrow the audience. The other thing that you can do is you can do negative targeting. So let's exclude, for example, HR manager. Nothing showed up for HR manager. However, when I typed in human resources manager, we're able to find a job title. So I'll put that. I'm also going to want to exclude people in sales. So let's try sales manager. Now, one of the challenges with LinkedIn is that if you are targeting by job titles, then your negative targeting cannot be by function. So you kind of have to make this binary choice of, are you going to target based on function, such as marketing, or are you going to target based on specific job titles? So given that I've gone with the more specific option of job titles, that means that the negative targeting is going to be pretty lengthy. So it might be Director of Human Resources, for example. I'm going to have to add here Director of Sales, Account Executives. And that's fine. Having lengthy targeting is great. You can have a more precise LinkedIn campaign that way. Now, what we're going to do is select the ad format. So conversation ads is a more advanced alternative to message ads. One of the reasons it's more advanced is because there are multiple calls to action that people can take with a conversation ad. Additionally, there are some other options. So for example, I can have an image embedded in the ad itself, whereas with message ads, the image is only beside the ad. So for bidding, the recommended here is $1, but let's just see what the minimum is. So I'm going to put in 10 cents. Okay, so the minimum is actually $1. In most cases, LinkedIn will recommend a certain bid, but the minimum bid is actually considerably lower. So I'm going to bid $1.01 in this case to be very conservative with budget. The campaign's been created, but next what we have to do is actually create the ad. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to call this test. You can select a sender. Ideally, it's a sender that has some sort of credibility with your audience. So for example, if you're targeting doctors, it's probably better to have your chief medical officer send out the ad rather than a sales rep. If it is a sales rep, it might be better to phrase it as like an expert in a particular area, or phrase that person as a consultant in a specific field of competence. One option here is to add some sort of banner image on the side. So I can add this here. And you don't have to, but it's good because by putting an image up, it means your competitors will not have an ad next to yours. And you can create your own form, or you can just go with one of the forms that's already here. So I've already created a form, and I'll do that here. You can also click this if you wanted to create a different form to capture leads that way. Hit next. So with conversation ads, they can be pretty sophisticated. So it's kind of like a chatbot. There are lots of trees, lots of options. So I might have yes, and then if the person hits yes, they're presented with two other options, and then if I hit yes again, they're presented with more options. And so there's all of these different permutations that you can develop. So given how complicated it is, I usually just start with a simple template. And the template I would normally start with, because conversation ads are usually focused on the bottom of the funnel where you're trying to get sales meetings, trying to get demos, etc. I select this option, drive trials and demos. And you can see here that by default there are 2 calls to action. I'll show you in a moment how we can add more. So the first thing you want to do is customize the text. So you might stick with hi first name and then say I'd like to invite you to a $100 offer to see how our product increases the speed of X in only 15 minutes. And then you might give a little bit of proof. Some evidence suggests, blah, blah, blah. One customer said, blah, blah, blah. And then you could have some other benefits, value props, whatever you want to say here. Now, directors of IT, you're going to want to customize your messaging to what's going to resonate with them. Other IT directors have generally gotten Y result, something like that. So I'm offering some sort of special incentive of $100 to meet with me. Now, if it's directors, maybe we want to offer more money, $250, something like that. And what you could do is customize these calls to action to something more specific. So you could say $100 IT director demo. And you could either have this open the form itself, or you could link people to another message where they're prompted with more questions, or you could send people to a website. I'm just going to leave it as opening the form. The next default here is tell me more. I might have something like connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm limited on text there. And what this could do is go to a website, and then I would just put in the URL to my LinkedIn account. And we could have another button that does something else, like by IT Director's Guide to X off to X, something like that. And this could go to a form. And that form would be like a download form. And on the thank you page for that download form, what you might do is send them to a URL where the PDF of the guide is posted, or you could just send them directly to the page where the guide is on your website and then retarget them to try to get them into the demo. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying, here's our hardest offer, this meeting. But if you're not quite ready for that, maybe you just want to connect with me on LinkedIn, or maybe you want to download the buyer's guide. And ideally, what will happen is eventually you'll segue them into this by retargeting or by just engaging in a conversation through LinkedIn. One of the cool features with conversation ads is the ability to add an image. So ideally, this would be an image that's maybe more offer specific. So I might have a picture of a $100 Visa gift card or something like that. You could have a picture of some sort of outcome that you've achieved or testimonial. You can experiment with what will work best for you.